So this is what has happened. The central government today announced a 10 rupees per litre cut in taxes on petrol and diesel. So will the price of petrol and diesel come down? No. The Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that this duty reduction is aimed at protecting customers or end consumers from rising fuel costs across the world. She said the government under Prime Minister Modi has consistently sought to insulate citizens from the volatility of global supply chains, essentially commodity prices. And Parliament has been notified. They've also added an export duty to keep, oil refineries from exporting oil in order to make sure that we have more domestically. Petroleum will say about this development. He posted something on Twitter. He said the international price of crude prices has gone through the roof, and petrol and diesel prices for consumers have gone up all over the world. He said prices have increased 30 to 50% in South Asia, 30% in North America, 20% in Europe, and 50% in African countries. He also said that the Modi government have two choices, either to increase prices drastically for citizens of Bharat, or India like the rest of us call it, as other nations have done, or bear the brunt on its finances so that the Indian citizen is insulated from international volatility. And keeping in that commitment of the last 4 years since Russia-Ukraine started, the government has decided to take a hit on its own finances and safeguard the Indian citizen, end quote, Mr. Puri said. How kind of him. And then, of course, there were a series of ministers of the central government who put out similar posts, basically saying that, the government has done this selfless, magnanimous, very, very kind thing. Let's understand the move, though, because there are two sides. Like I always say, there are two sides to every story, and I'll give you both sides of the story. Now, this move does come at a prior time when global crude prices are shooting through the roof. Let's take a look at it. Since the United States and Israel, in all their wisdom or the lack of, decided to strike Iran on the 28th of February, the international price of crude has actually gone up 50%. Global prices had surged right up to $119, $120 a barrel. They have come down to $100 a barrel. There was a cooling off when Trump said he's negotiating with Iran, but now we understand that there is no such negotiation. And we don't know who he's talking to, and he has not confirmed who the recipient of his negotiation is. And so all of that became a little grey, and then crude prices came back up again. India, like you know, depends on international crude for 88% of its total input, which means that if global prices go up, then domestic prices will also go up, right? So what's at stake? Fuel on taxes on petrol and diesel is an extremely important source of revenue for central governments and state governments. And at the same time, fuel costs, if you increase the fuel costs, it will have a direct impact on inflation. They'll affect logistics, they'll affect transport expenses, household budgets. Any movement in fuel prices have broader economic implications on the entire economy, and obviously the poorest will suffer the most. So even if you buy onions, they have to come into your city on the back of a truck, which needs diesel. Diesel prices will go up, onion prices will go up. That's true of milk, it's true of rice, it's true of atta, it's true of everything that you use. And so that will have an inflationary effect and really hit household budgets. That's why this is so important. But there's something that I want you to understand before we go further, is how really the price of fuel at the petrol pump is decided in our country. Like we were talking about yesterday, in America, it doesn't matter how much crude or how much oil supply they already have in the country. The way their system is designed is that the gas station price is linked directly to the global price of crude. That's not the way it works in India. How it works in India is this. Right now we pay about 100 rupees per litre. Let's assume it's 100 rupees a litre. It's thereabout in that neighborhood. 35 to 45 rupees out of that is the price of crude. 20 to 25 rupees is central taxes. 20 to 25 rupees is state taxes. The rest is dealer commissions and margins. So effectively, for every 100 rupees that you pay for a litre of petrol, 40 to 55 rupees is tax. And this has been the case since COVID. So you'll remember during COVID, crude prices crashed because demand came down that much because there was a global lockdown and nobody was using any transport. So crude prices crashed drastically, and at that time the government actually kept increasing the taxes to absorb that difference without actually reducing it at the petrol pump. So there was a massive, sort of profit that was kept by the government. So when taxes are cut, two things should happen. Obviously, price should fall or the company should absorb the losses. And right now we are in scenario 2. Like I said, of the government who have been lauding the selfless decision of the government to take this massive hit and support the citizens. At the same time, on the other side, like there always is, the opposition has pointed out a few other things. The Congress party has said the union government's excise duty cuts would not translate to immediate relief because it's notional. Jairam Ramesh has said today's announcement was largely because of assembly elections that are happening. Wait till 30th April and we'll see what will happen. And then there was an important question asked by Jairam Ramesh where he said, when global crude prices fell, as they have done on several different occasions in the last 12 years, consumer prices were not reduced. In fact, the government kept the difference. So where is that money now? According to a 2024 Economic Times report, it shows that state-owned fuel retailers, Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum, Hindustan Petroleum Corporation, reported bumper profits in 2024. And they made a total of 81,000 crore rupees, which was far exceeding any of the profits in the previous years. These three companies combined, because as the price kept falling, they didn't pass on that benefit to citizens. They actually kept that profit. So oil marketing companies in 2024, FY24, had a combined profit that rose 25 times year on year, according to information shared by the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. And state-owned oil marketing companies had a fabulous year in 2023-24. So that is what we have to look at in this story. So in the last 6 years, the government has been taking a massive share of fuel prices as taxes. So 40 to 50% of what you pay goes in taxes, split between centre and state. So at its peak, central excise was as high as 32 to 33 rupees per litre of petrol, and diesel was very similar. Remember, there used to be a time when diesel was the cheaper fuel, but now there's no difference between petrol and diesel anymore. So and this is the number to keep in mind, between FY 2020, so COVID, and FY 2025, in those 5 years, the central government has earned 18 lakh crore rupees in excise duty on petrol and diesel alone. State governments separately have earned about 30 lakh crore rupees in those years. So when the government is saying we're taking a hit to protect our citizens, we have to actually zoom out and look at the whole picture and say, you perhaps are taking a hit and you could have avoided that hit by increasing prices. That is true, and that part of that argument is absolutely true. We are in a volatile situation. We don't know how long this is going to go on for. There is a shortage of fuel that is coming in right now, and the government could have passed on this pain. They have chosen not to. All these things are true. But on the other side of this story, what is also true is the fact that you have made a king's ransom in the last 5 years or so in simply charging taxes on fuel because the price of the input was so low and you were charging domestically so much higher. The piece of data that I always found really interesting was the fact that India refines fuel for our neighbors. So Bangladesh buys from us, Sri Lanka buys from us, other neighbors buy from us, and they sell to their citizens at 50 rupees a litre. But we were selling our own oil to our citizens at 100 rupees a litre. So there was this massive difference, and that difference was being soaked up or absorbed by the government and by oil marketing companies. So if they're taking a hit, and yes, they are taking a hit, and I grant you that you are taking a hit. You also at that point made a profit when you could. So the government is dealing with a very real problem. Global prices are volatile. India depends on imports, which is true. Fuel prices will hit inflation, and that's something that they want to avoid. And in that context, this is a really pro-citizen move. But on the other hand, customers and consumers have not seen any direct relief in the last 5 years from falling crude prices. You've kept them consistently high. Our economy has managed to absorb that pain. And so It's not really fair for you to be the benevolent king today when you weren't benevolent in the last 5 years. This is just how the balancing act has always managed. So the fair way to put this statement out would be to say that this is not the government taking a hit, this is the government taking a slightly smaller cut. But we are going to keep a close eye on this and tell you what's going on. I want to remind you that the Minister Hardeep Singh Puri put out a statement today denying any shortage. He said that there was shortage. There are rumors that there is shortage. There is no shortage. We have enough reserves of fuel and of LPG. He also denied rumors that there's any sort of lockdown. He said there's no, people misunderstood what the Prime Minister said in Rajya Sabha and said, oh, it's going to be a lockdown. But there's no lockdown. And the government has clearly come out and clarified that there will be no lockdown. There is no shortage. There is no reason to rush to the petrol pump and fill up fuel. These are statements that we're getting from government right now. Leave me a comment in the comment section on what you believe, what your opinion is in how the government is handling this situation.